Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I want to educate you about the Baker Act and some of the sort of alternatives that I hear to hiring a lawyer. Now, having had my own family member Baker acted several years ago and been there when it happened, I have nothing but empathy for families who are dealing with this. It's insanity. I mean, it just really is. That's all, the only way I can describe it. And now draconian, broken mental health system in Florida is something to behold. But when somebody gets Baker acted, they become a ward of the state, and the state becomes their new legal guardian. Now, the agent, the state's agent, is this Baker Act facility, and even though it's private and for profit, they can hold the person. They can lock the door, deny you access to them. They can forcibly medicate them, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I have seen it all at this point. People getting beaten up, people getting sexually assaulted. It's truly unbelievable. And I have been very vocal in pretty much every video I've ever put out about the Baker Act, about the fact that you need to fight to get your loved one out the minute they're detained. Even if you think the detention was legal, you don't want them there, okay? And you want to be able to make decisions for them, and they need to be able to make decisions for themselves. But sometimes families say, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the police. And the police come by, and even if they're allowed in the facility, and sometimes they're not allowed in, the facility says, sorry, you can't come in. But let's say they do. Let's say the facility allows the police in. Unless there's an allegation or evidence that there's been criminal activity, the police cannot remove them. They cannot grab the person and take them out. So that is just an exercise in futility and, frankly, frustration. The police go by and they're like, we can't do anything. They can't do anything. The other thing I hear is, I know, I'll cancel the insurance. Well, canceling insurance, in my experience, doesn't do anything. In fact, what's going to happen is that if the Baker Act facility figures out that there's no insurance there, and because you wouldn't cancel it, they'll send you a bill, and they'll come banging on the door to collect it. And when I say banging on the door, I mean figuratively speaking, not literally. No one's coming to actually bang on the door, but they will come after you. And I get those calls too, where somebody has been Baker acted, and now the facility wants them to pay for services rendered. The other thing I've heard is, I'm going to call the press. Well, go ahead. Again, I think it's a waste of time. I mean, the New York Times did a big expose last year on the Acadia facilities, which we litigate against frequently. It hasn't changed a thing. They don't seem to care. No big deal. I have been on local news multiple times discussing the Baker Act and the facilities. Hasn't changed a thing. I mean, I'm happy to share my experience. That's why I do these videos. But there's only one thing that makes a difference, and that is dragging these guys into court. And if they're not willing to release your loved one, if they're not willing to capitulate, then going at it, right? And then taking their doctor to task for, potentially illegally holding your loved one. And so my advice to you in this video, as it is in every other video, is that you have to fight to get your loved one out. Don't waste time calling the police or calling the press or canceling insurance. None of that stuff works. It simply doesn't. Only one thing works if the facility is not going to release your loved one. You got to drag them into court. You simply have to do it. Otherwise, they're almost certainly going to get stuck there. Now, obviously, if the facility says, well, we're going to let them go, well, then fine. Then you don't need me, right? I mean, you don't need a lawyer if the facility's going to let them go. But we're dealing with a situation where this person was either illegally detained, or they've been held way beyond the 72 hours, or they were coerced into signing a voluntary admission agreement, or the facility simply doesn't give a hoot about the law and they're just not going to follow it, and they're going to do whatever they want anyway. I mean, this is what we're talking about, right? You got to fight to get your loved one out. Do not wait. I'm telling you, bad things happen if you wait. Other than somebody getting assaulted or raped, God forbid, the facility files a case, there's a hearing that you don't even know about and certainly don't get invited to, and the next thing you know, there's a court order in place and your loved one's getting stuck for a month or 2 months or whatever it is, right? Fight to get your loved one out and don't wait. Thank you for tuning in. If you have any comments or questions, please post them. I typically respond within a day. I'd love a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.